hail Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is love. Christopher Nolan is life. Christopher Nolan is God. Oppenheimer, the latest Christopher Nolan movie, is finally here, and it was insanely fire. No pun intended. In all seriousness, though, not only was this movie fucking amazing, it was also the most stressful 3 hours of my fucking life. There was no time to breathe or relax. Every fucking scene had me on the edge of my seat. Like literally, I was shaking because of how fucking insanely intense this movie was. And holy shit, this movie is as heavy as it gets. So Oppenheimer follows the story of Oppenheimer.
Well, no shit.
Julius Robert Oppenheimer, to be exact. And this film covers most of the important events in his life, including when he studied and taught physics and how all of that led to him creating the first nuclear bomb. That, of course, as you all know, was used as a weapon of mass destruction to end World War II. The war between the US and Japan seemed like it was never going to end, and Oppenheimer and his team saw no other option but to do something drastic that would make the Japanese surrender. As you all know, the only option, according to the US, was to drop 2 atomic bombs on 2 of Japan's major cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And as you all know, each bomb instantly annihilated thousands of people. The US was also in a race against the Soviets and the Nazis to create this bomb, as there were rumors that the Russians and the Germans were working on a bomb as well. The US wanted to be the ones to do it first, so that they can establish dominance over the world and let other countries know that they are a force to be reckoned with. The people who were in power in the US knew that if they pulled this off before anyone else, no other countries would fuck with them. And spoiler alert, if you know your history, then you know that that's exactly what happened. This movie takes us into the mind of Oppenheimer, and Cillian Murphy's brilliant performance captured how he felt about what he was doing. He knew it was morally wrong, but eventually he came to terms with the fact that he had no other choice. This film shows not only the events leading up to the 2 bombs being dropped, but it also shows the aftermath, including when Oppenheimer was accused of being a communist Soviet spy. And holy fucking fuck, the scenes when he was being interrogated for that shit were insanely fucking stressful, like holy fuck. And as for the visuals, I mean like, where the fuck do I even begin? I saw this movie in 70mm IMAX, which basically meant that some of the shots of certain scenes take up the entire fucking screen. And yeah, it's safe to say that most of the shots in this film were fucking breathtaking. So most of this film took place in New Mexico because, as some of you know, that's where Oppenheimer and his team made the bomb. They of course needed open land so that they can test the nuclear explosion without suffering any casualties, obviously. And just the simple shots of New Mexico's open landscape were fucking amazing. Of course, the shot of the nuclear bomb detonating was fucking unreal as well. And there's also certain scenes when Oppenheimer and some others discuss different theories of astrophysics. And when Oppenheimer explains a certain topic on that subject, the movie shows some cool ass shots of space while he continues explaining his theory or whatever. And yeah, it's safe to say that all of these shots, including the shots in space or New Mexico or of the bomb, were all fucking spectacular. And the cast of this movie is fucking stacked. Christopher Nolan literally has half of Hollywood in this movie. Although Cillian Murphy steals the show for most of the film, the other actors in it were great as well, including Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Jason Clarke, and even fucking Gary Oldman as President Truman. This movie has Oscar bait written all over it. I mean, what else can I fucking say? This is an amazing movie packed with great performances, breathtaking shots, well-depicted historical events, and engaging dialogue. And with all that said, this is easily the best movie of the year so far. This is also a breath of fresh air for Christopher Nolan, considering that his last 2 films were pretty fucking mediocre. This is literally his first great film in 9 years, or in other words, his best film since Interstellar. And even though it's long as fuck, and even though it has a lot of talking, I was never bored. What's great about this movie is that it does not sugarcoat the end of World War II. It is an honest depiction of what went down. It does not give any indication that dropping the bomb on Japan was a good thing. The film does not take any side, and there is no bias towards America in the writing. It simply shows the events leading up to the creation of the bomb being dropped, and the aftermath. The depiction of all of this is as brutal and as honest as it gets. The people who were involved in this deadly project were not celebrating in the end, especially Oppenheimer himself. You could tell that he felt awful about what he did. And that's what I love most about this movie. It's not one of those films with a happy ass ending or whatever. It's incredibly realistic, incredibly dark, and at times, incredibly depressing. I guess my only criticism of the film would be that, as great as it is, it's certainly not the best historical drama I've seen, and although I said I was engaged the entire time, there were a few minor scenes that sort of dragged on just a little bit. But besides all that shit, this movie is fucking brilliant. I'm gonna give Oppenheimer a strong 8 out of 10. As always, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe for more movie reviews.